Hello, wholeness. Welcome to Notes of Nara. My name is Naja Rashida, and may this message find you well and whole today. Our topic we are discussing is about success. I'm going to label this one success because I've just been inspired by someone in a way that, or maybe just life, productivity. And this is my 4 year according to numerology, so personal year. So it's like all about structure, and then you have the eclipse season, and so it can be a lot. There's a lot happening. But what are your distractions revealing about you? I know. The guilt, right? That guilt that we feel when we're not doing what we're meant to be doing. And so what do we do to medicate that guilt? We then have a habit. We feed the guilt through the habit, and this cycle just perpetuates itself. We feel more guilty the more we're not doing what we're meant to be doing, and so we feed it with the habit. Our distractions reveal our fear, our doubt, and low confidence and low self-esteem. Confident people get shit done. They just do. If you're starting out something, you don't know how to do it, you got to do it anyway. Yeah, it may come out complete crap. It may be the lowest quality. It might not gain any traction. You might fail at it completely. But the era that I'm entering into now is a creative life. And that's my era. Just all my life is full of creativity. Whether I'm writing a book, making music albums, doing artwork, or creating a life creating a teaching system through education that I find very fulfilling and that teaches people. I have no clue, but my life moving forward through this eclipse season is creating space for a creative life. And so that to me is a successful life. That to me is success for me. I'm not even looking at the money. I'm not. I am though. I got bills to pay. I got bills to pay and food to eat and a whole move to fund, and so I'm not blind, right? I see, we up, but oh God. Our distractions, yeah, it's the whole self-victimizing, self-sabotage. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I should be doing this. Why aren't you doing it? Right. And guess what? Passion, here's the thing about discipline. It's a mind fuck, okay? Because, and I became aware of this. I never, as a child, okay, I know I talked about my early childhood relationship and my early childhood with discipline and all that in previous videos. I know I did. I know there's one specifically about I talked about it. But just a preview for those who just subscribed. I grew up in a very strictly religious household, very, very strict religious upbringing, okay? It was a non-Christian religion, but it was very, 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 very strict. And we got up, prayed 5 times a day, got up before dawn to make prayer. My mom went back and forth. I come from an eclectic background of faiths, practices, religions, and spirituality on both sides of my family. But yeah, it was, and I ate it all the way up. Okay. I practiced, and I got up 5 a.m. I fasted. I did all the things that you can do to be close to God and do the right things so you can go to heaven and not burn in the hellfire, as they would tell us more often than going to heaven. But, to scare us, fear, that. But with discipline, I think it just has always been a natural thing in me. Like, just, my mom didn't have to tell me to get up to make prayer, right? I just did it. I just did things. Or even in college, like, my professors didn't have to say, hey, you need to practice more. They never Not once did they ever say, you need to practice more. I never had that issue. I mean, truly. And I'm not like, talking myself up here. It was just an automatic thing. And I would do it when I was sick. I would do it when I was tired. I would do it when I was sad. I mean, it was very difficult actually for me to, side note, if my heart is healing and it's hard for me to be engaged in creativity, but I'm learning how to deal with that and how to channel sadness through my artwork. Because that's something I haven't learned how to do, but that'll be when I begin to activate my creative life, But yeah, discipline. Okay. And so with discipline, I didn't quite understand my nature until I was 26. I was 26 years old and I was studying Ashtanga yoga with Sean and Emily Shelton in Arizona. And they Ashtanga is a very small community, very tight-knit, close-knit. I mean, people were like, oh, it's cultish. I mean, any group is gonna give off that vibe, in my personal opinion. But no, it's not a cult. It's a lifestyle, and it's a way of life and way of thinking. But I remember the day he said, because after our practice on Sundays, he would all sit in a group and he would go over some chapters in some of his books that he would read, or he thought that it was beneficial for us. And he was like, listen, he was like, your mind, like, he was, the most important thing you could ever do is to show up on the mat, no matter what. When I say no matter what, and this is a dedication, I remember, and now some people will say, you need to listen to your body, you shouldn't push yourself to the brink. I respect that. I really, 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 really do. But my mind works in a different way. And I'm getting better at balance now, because I used to be extreme, okay? And I bought, it's the desert, and I was on my bike, grocery shopping, and I saw like you could get 5 containers of strawberries. It was like a deal. I got fresh strawberries. Woo! I was like, yeah. So I packed my stuff. I was pedaling home on my bike. A couple days go by, and I'm subbing. I'm a permanent sub at a high school, and I took a whole carton of strawberries with me to school, and I was slamming them. And I get to the last bit, and I wasn't even paying attention, so I was talking to a student, and I pick up a strawberry and I take a bite. You guys, it was spoiled. It wasn't even an hour later, I was teaching class and the room began to spin. Okay, I will say, without getting too graphic, all orifices were compromised, okay? All orifices were completely compromised. And yeah, that was that experience. And I felt, it was awful. Let's just say I did not touch a strawberry for a good long time, okay? But anyway, I remember the very next, I walk home, crawl, felt like. And Sean, because he's my housemate too, he's like, hey, what's up? You're home early. And I'm like, yeah, I just had food poisoning. And I went, right to sleep. And then, sometimes when your body projects or projectile vomits or gets rid of a virus or bacterium or something, you lose a lot of nutrients, a lot of energy, and a lot of the good stuff in your body. And so your body immediately wants to replenish. So I got extremely hungry, like after 3 or 4 hours. I think I ordered some food or something, and I ate that. And then I showed up to practice the next day. I showed up on the mat, and he was like, because Sean was a very quiet guy, I think. And he would laugh and smile, but he was kind of stoic. And, but still I could tell he was like, wow. Because I said, I feel like shit, but I'm here. And I move slow. And then he was like, okay, you don't have to do the whole the whole practice. But just to show you the mindset of Ashtanga, the world of Ashtanga, and the mindset and the mental fortitude that builds when it comes to pain, it shifts you. It changes you. Okay. There was a girl younger than myself, her and her boyfriend, and they were on some kind of weird strict diet. Anyway, they were coming from another sect of yoga that was way more intense than ours. And so, but one day she comes in and she's all banged up, scratched up. And I'm like, girl, what happened? She's like, we got in a car accident. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, I'm good. And I'm like, we lived, we swerved. And I mean, you could see where the, oh gosh, what's it called? The seatbelt, the burn. It, like, the friction of it ripped through her skin. You could see the burn on her, and she's all banged up and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. And she showed up to practice like 2 days later. So discipline, yes. I come from, I'm a bit hardcore, and there are other people who are way more hardcore than myself. So I'm not, I mean, in the circle of people that know me, I'm a bit extreme. Like my minimalism, how I eat, clothes I wear, all that stuff, they're just like, okay, like, you're okay, but I'm just fine, right? But how does that tie into distractions? I just wanted to go into the psychological part and the mentality, the mindset, right? Like, why aren't you doing what needs to be done? And how does that play into the present moment, right? And it's a story that you've agreed to for so long that it's become it's like you're not even present, because the present frees you and it allows you to explore your gifts, your talents, your focal, like it allows you to lock in on your focal point. But you fall into that old pattern because it feels comfortable. It's uncomfortable locking into a new focal point. Our distractions, whether they're positive or negative, here's a thing about distractions it's just so toxic, is that they do feel good and they're not all negative. You can sit down and watch a movie rather than make your artwork, right? You can go out to eat, rather than prepare a meal for tomorrow, for work, for the week, right? Just to distract yourself from what needs to get done. That's saying something. It's saying that, yeah. I see that it's funny when you see it within yourself, you begin to see it very clearly in other people. And that's when, like, people they'll just talk about what they're doing. They'll talk about their dreams. They'll talk about their visions, but their actions aren't lining up because their higher nature and lower nature self are not connected with the heart space. The heart space is the bridge. Without the bridge, you're going to have two conflicting mindsets. You're going to have two conflicting ways. You're going to feel like you're being pulled left and right constantly, and you're going to feel stagnant. You're going to feel like you're not moving forward. You're going to feel distracted because your higher nature self is like, no, I'm going to do this. Your lower nature self is, no, I need to relax. I'm exhausted and tired because you mismanaged my energy, or the energy is mismanaged, right? And so it's just this weird, ugly dance. Like someone is doing the river dance and the other's doing jazz, right? Someone's doing ballet, like your higher self is doing ballet and your lower self is breakdancing. That's not fluidity. That's not connection. That's not cohesive. So distractions flourish to medicate the guilt. And that's something that, I wish I had an easy thing to share with you on how to get that. And maybe I will, because I do feel going back to teaching, because I'm not calling teaching work. It's not just a job to me. It's teaching. You're guiding minds. And so I'm entering into this cycle that's coming to a close again, because it's come back to me again, because it's asking me, it's a big a revisitation, right? But there's going to be tremendous amount of structure and order in everything that I do. All that I do is intentional, because I live intentionally, because I want my heart to lead, to pull these two powerful forces into one, to unite the feminine and masculine, to create, to have them unify, where I'm just as much as I am intuitive and magical, and I can see, I'm just as strong and driven and ambitious and ready to do the work. That is something I wish that all human beings can tap into. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Okay? So try not to curse as much, because cursing, although it has its place, I don't know. I'm gonna work on it. I mean, and going back to the classroom anyway, it's all automatic. You can't, swear like the kids do. I'm like, wow, it's amazing. Okay, well, I don't want to make this too long. Thank you so much. I deeply, deeply appreciate you all for tuning in. Share your thoughts, your feelings, your reflections, because I know I'm not the only one going through what I'm going through or growing through. So yeah, thank you.